Hello, students, and welcome to another screencast with Mr. Swan. So, I have some different things for you to do today, which I will get to in just a little bit, but we might as well go ahead and start the picture of the day. And it's always nice to have a happier picture of the day, so that's what I got for you this time. A 1,000-year-old carved turtle. Cambodian archaeologists have unearthed a large, centuries-old statue of a turtle at the historic Angkor Temple complex. The 56 centimeter by the 93 centimeter carved stone turtle is believed to date from the 10th century and made of sandstone. It was discovered last Wednesday during digging at what was the site of a small temple that had been built on the Sarong, one of Angkor's several reservoirs. Researchers pinpointed where the temple had been, and workers drained off the water to enable the dig, which began on March 16th. The bottom half of the turtle remains buried as preparations were being made to lift it out without damaging it. They also are starting to find other small artifacts, which I'll get to that in just a second. So the turtle they found, that's my picture right over here on the far right side. It has a square kind of carved into the back. As far as I can tell, at least from the English translations of the press releases by these archaeologists, I'm not really sure what that is for, but I think maybe this is like for one of the Hindu gods of Vishnu, as something that they kind of put around as kind of like goodwill for the temples, especially right around that area, which was heavily influenced by Hinduism. And there's like a little picture of the front part of like the turtle. So they need to figure out how to bring it out because, as we know from our rock unit, sandstone, a sedimentary rock, is not very tough. It can break pretty easily. So they have to be careful when they're kind of bringing this stuff out. And it is probably only last this long because it was buried. As most sedimentary rock probably would have deteriorated away, especially within 1,000 years. So that's a picture actually of the reservoir just before the drain actually happened on the bottom left corner. So they kind of drained out the water, they kind of blocked off this area, and they're actually able to start the dig, and they're actually finding these cool things. They're starting to find tridents. I have a picture of that on the bottom right. Over here, there was also some reports that they're finding like stone faces or stone heads of some kind of mythological creatures, but there's no pictures of those, so I didn't really bring it up over in the article. But this thing is probably about 0.5 meter by 1 meter, and they're really looking forward to trying to keep that. It'll probably go into a museum one day, and to see kind of what else is down there. So for good sedimentary rocks that are still around that you want to go find, pretty much undamaged, where do you got to go? You got to dig down and go underneath. So underneath water is a good way to kind of store them as well. And that's kind of it for today, to see like what they're doing on a different side of the world. So my assignment for you today is like a little bit different. I don't really know what to call it. It's not really an alternate assignment because there's only really one, and it's different for sure. I'm going to call it the outdoor/lifelong learning assignment. This is actually pretty much an app that I use that I think maybe you should use as well, and maybe you already have, and you'll be kind of good to go. But my goal is to kind of show it to you, and then you just kind of go out and use it. Nothing will be graded. There's nothing to turn in, and just something that maybe will last, and something that you have like maybe in your back pocket, as they say, that you can use for a long time. I have, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I think this is the oldest app I've used. It has oldest as in I've used it for the longest period of time. I think I downloaded this right when iPhones even came out. So I figured we'll go right back into that. And then so my video is now going to change because also over the past week, I've been trying to learn some video editing stuff, and we'll see how that goes. And one day you'll see where I kind of point like right over here and things will pop up, and then I'll have cool title screens and we'll do like cut shots. But none of that is today because I don't know how to do any of that. So it'll be pretty simple editing until then. All right, let's move right on over to the app. Okay, and welcome to what I'm going to call my app review. And then what this assignment really is actually hopefully a little bit fun for you. There's nothing really going to be written or graded. But this is actually trying to show and maybe pass on a really useful tool that I have used for years. A long time ago when I believe the iPhones kind of came out and the App Store kind of came out, they had these options, you can download these cool programs. And one of the first ones I found that I really liked was this one. It's called SkyView. This app allows you to kind of hold your phone around, and then based on the interior compass, the magnetic compass that's inside your phone, it orientates itself so it shows you the different stars that you're looking at as you hold up the phone to the sky. And I have found this incredibly useful. Not like an everyday thing, but every once in a while. It's like a really cool tool for like the back of your pocket, as they say. And it's going to download it. So It'll take a second or two. And I thought maybe it'd be nice to kind of pass this on, and maybe you will enjoy as well. It is definitely one of the oldest apps that I've used in terms of used the most, and it's hung around the most. Other times things kind of come and go out of fashion, but this one is definitely kind of always hung around. There are two versions of this. We're using the SkyView Lite, the Lite. That is the free version. Underneath, if you kind of look at this, you'll see SkyView, the paid version, which is like $2. I'm showing this to you on an iPhone, but this is also available on Android as well. And I believe they're actually also made a Google Chrome version that could possibly run on Chromebooks as well through the Google Play Store. So whichever one you want is totally fine with me, as trying to give it a shot. But I can only show you in the Apple version, but it will show everything you see here is what you're going to see on the Android version as well. So let's get started. So you hit open, and mine will look a little bit different than yours because the screen might be cut off just a tinge. But it's you hit open and it says welcome to SkyView. You can find stars, constellation, and planets, and may talk about some satellites. It needs your location. I usually set mine automatically, but you can do it manually in case you want to. The augmented reality is so like you can kind of like look through the screen with your camera to help you line up stuff in the night sky. I am not going to use that because that will turn that on immediately, but I'll show you that in a second or two. And to calibrate it, you can always turn it and rotate your phone until it's like figure eights. Actually, I believe the infinity sign. And then this is saying you actually bought the premium version while using the free version, but just so you don't really need to buy the premium version. The premium version, I think it shows satellite movement, and I'm not really super into satellite movement, so whatever. It's just $2 though. But free version is totally plenty enough. So we'll start right over here. That red line is showing you the horizon, and then that's the compass direction north. And if you were to kind of move your phone and rotate the screen, and then it eventually goes to the east, and then eventually works its way, and eventually goes to the south. And it continues to go on. So it shows you where you are in your horizon, and then those white dots are just what you think they are. Those are stars. If you hover right over a star, it will tell you its name in the bottom left, and then that kind of blurry-ish, faint white line, that shows the star's trajectory as it moves through the sky as our world rotates. And then if you move to other ones, like this one, shows you a couple more stars, and like those light blue lines show you the constellations. And this star over here is our most favorite one, which is Polaris. And if you move on a constellation, but kind of like off the stars a little bit, it tells you the name of the constellation in the bottom left corner. So this is the Ursa Minor constellation. And then one of the things I've used this site or this app for especially is constellation names, because I forget about them all the time. And then the other one is that every once in a while, you kind of look up in the night sky, and then things look kind of strange. You're like, what is that really bright star? And eventually you might take out the phone and be like, it's like too bright to be a star, and it's actually a planet. Planets, if they're on the correct orientation from the sun, and how it hits us can look incredibly bright in the night sky. And so they look like sometimes little stars. And unless you have a telescope and you can zoom in, you would see that they're actual planets. So here's Mercury, and then it adds like a little lens flare, like right there in the middle of the screen, kind of zooms in, and then that is everyone's favorite. That is the sun. The sun is below the horizon, which means that it is now nighttime. And another way to see that would be to try out the augmented reality. So you click that top button, the top left. Someone told me that is called the hamburger button. I think that's true, but I think it's really kind of funny name. And that little camera symbol, and the little bit to the left of the main one, the middle ones that take pictures. Turns on the augmented reality to allow to use your camera. This one, the free version, this will happen. It's going to do a little pop-up. It says upgrade now. You do not need to upgrade. You just hit the X on the top left. And you have to do it over again. And you'll see where I am, which is inside my house. So kind of like looking out the window, you see like my lamp right here, my blinds, my window. But it still shows you that orientation of the stars and the horizon, and it still works out. And so it can kind of help you in the night sky, like pinpoint objects. It's like fun to use, I think. The augmented reality, like once or twice. Then after a while, you're like, I'm good, and then you'll just be good. But what I would use is on the bottom in the settings, that little wrench icon, go to display, I'm not really big into actually looking at the trajectories of like objects, so like I usually turn that off. I'm not super into satellites, so I turn that off too. It's the rest I really want, and then I take planet size and I make it way bigger. I slide that right to the right. It makes them way easier to find. So if you go back to my planets, they should look a little bit bigger in size. Makes it a little bit easier to hover over. And then you can go look for objects. And then that's about it. So my goal for you is to do something like a little bit different, maybe kind of stepping away from the computer screen, maybe be able to kind of go outside. Wednesday night looks to be far-ranging forecast, the clearest night. So I think this will work maybe out the best technically tonight that you guys are actually like hearing this video. So go out and give it a shot. If you find something really cool or you want to talk to me about it, send me an email because I'm always curious to see like how people are enjoying some of these things. And then maybe kind of keep it around, and then who knows, maybe like a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, something's going to happen and you'll be like, oh, wait, I think I have that app. And you can kind of go look at some nice sky. And I consider this kind of a lifelong learning lesson. Because you'll still be learning about space and stars long after you left Earth science. So besides that, I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoy something a little bit different, and have a really good afternoon. All right. Bye, guys.